If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns are once again at a crossroads, and the excitement and the anxiety around their next head coach decision is palpable among the names swirling in speculation. One has emerged as both a tantalizing possibility and a significant gamble: Nate Scheelhaase, the 25-year-old passing game coordinator from the Los Angeles Rams. At just 35 years old, Scheelhaase is not only one of the youngest candidates for a head coaching role in the league, but he also brings a resume that, on paper, reads like a rapid ascent through football's coaching echelons. What makes this potential hire so fascinating is not just his relative youth, but the pedigree he carries from working under Sean McVay, one of the most innovative offensive minds the NFL has seen in the past 2 decades. Scheelhaase's role with the Rams has been far from ceremonial. He has worked closely with Matthew Stafford and helped orchestrate what was, last season, the #1 passing offense in the league. That accomplishment alone is enough to make any team pause and consider the possibilities. But the Browns are facing a decision that comes with real stakes, as Scheelhaase has never held a coordinator role in the NFL before, let alone a head coaching position. This duality, enormous upside mixed with undeniable risk, is exactly what makes the conversation about him so compelling. Looking at the pros, there is a compelling case for why the Browns might want to move forward with Scheelhaase. The first and most obvious advantage is his tutelage under Sean McVay. McVay has redefined offensive strategy in football, blending creativity with efficiency, and his influence on Scheelhaase cannot be overstated. To have worked closely with a coach whose offenses consistently dominate the league suggests that Scheelhaase has absorbed a level of strategic understanding and operational acumen that few young coaches ever achieve. Beyond the mentorship, Scheelhaase has demonstrated his ability to run a passing game independently. His prior experience as an offensive coordinator at Iowa State may have been at the college level, but it is the foundation of an essential skill set: planning, executing, and adjusting an offense to maximize the talents of his players. That experience, even if limited to college, shows that Scheelhaase can manage complex offensive schemes, develop game plans, and take responsibility for performance, which are all critical qualities for an NFL head coach. Another pro, which might sound almost trivial but is actually quite meaningful, is Scheelhaase's enthusiasm for the Browns' job in a coaching cycle where some candidates have stepped away from consideration for various reasons. Having someone who not only wants the role but is driven to earn it can be invaluable. Motivation and desire are intangible, but in professional sports, they often separate the good from the great. Scheelhaase is coming into this process with fire in his eyes, a willingness to take on the challenge, and an energy that could resonate throughout the organization. In today's NFL, having a head coach who is willing to invest completely in the team's culture, buy-in, and development can make all the difference, and by all accounts, Scheelhaase fits that description. Additionally, the evolution of the NFL into a pass-heavy league places a premium on coaches who can innovate on offense. Scheelhaase has shown that he is not only current with modern offensive philosophies, but also capable of thinking ahead, adapting to trends, and designing schemes that give quarterbacks and skilled players room to thrive. In a league where offensive production often dictates success, that forward-thinking approach is a huge asset. On the flip side, the cons and potential pitfalls cannot be ignored. The most obvious concern is experience, or more accurately, the lack of it. Scheelhaase has never been an NFL coordinator, and stepping directly into a head coaching role at 35 in one of the league's most scrutinized markets is a significant leap. The NFL is a different animal than college football. The stakes, the personalities, the media scrutiny, and the expectations are all magnified. Being brilliant in theory does not automatically translate to success in practice, especially when it comes to leadership, decision-making under pressure, and managing a locker room full of grown men, some of whom have played at the highest levels for years. The transition from college to professional football has tripped up even highly regarded minds before, and the Browns would be assuming a risk by trusting that Scheelhaase can bridge that gap seamlessly. Leadership is another unknown. Being a coordinator or assistant is one thing, but the head coach position requires an entirely different skill set. It demands not only football intelligence, but the ability to motivate, unify, and command respect from every part of the organization. History is littered with examples of brilliant assistants who struggled when given the ultimate responsibility. Take Jonathan Gannon's tenure with the Arizona Cardinals as a cautionary tale: highly intelligent, deeply knowledgeable, yet ultimately unable to inspire or lead effectively in the pressure cooker environment of an NFL head coaching role. Shielhaas's leadership qualities remain largely untested at the professional level, which introduces an element of uncertainty that the Browns would have to weigh carefully. The quarterback factor is also a significant consideration. Nate Shielhaas has had the luxury of working with Matthew Stafford, a veteran quarterback with Hall of Fame level talent, football intelligence, and experience commanding an offense at the highest level. The question becomes, can Shielhaas develop quarterbacks who do not have Stafford's elite skill set? Cleveland's current roster includes Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson, all of whom present varying challenges and developmental needs. Shielhaas will need to prove he can mold and elevate quarterbacks who may not be at Stafford's level, and that represents another layer of risk. The jump from working with a proven star to guiding younger, less experienced quarterbacks is non-trivial, and the league has shown that even top offensive minds can struggle when the quarterback talent is inconsistent or raw. If the Browns are seeking stability and immediate progress, this aspect could weigh heavily against Shielhaas in the eyes of some decision makers. There are additional contextual factors that complicate the evaluation. The Browns organization has a passionate fan base, high expectations, and a history of volatility in coaching hires. Any new head coach will be under immense scrutiny from day one. While Shielhaas's youth can be framed as energy, it can also be viewed as a lack of seasoning, particularly in navigating the political and media pressures of a high-profile team. How he handles criticism, manages conflict, and maintains authority in the face of adversity are all critical questions that remain unanswered. Moreover, the Browns are entering a period where offensive innovation must be balanced with stability and discipline. Shielhaas is undoubtedly creative, but it is unknown whether his creativity can be harnessed consistently to produce wins without compromising team cohesion or defensive balance. The risk-reward calculus is complex. Hire a brilliant, young offensive mind who could elevate the franchise to new heights, or select a more experienced candidate who offers proven stability and leadership. In evaluating Shielhaas's potential as the Browns' next head coach, it is clear that the decision is far from straightforward. On one hand, he represents the kind of high-upside hire that could redefine the offense, energize the team, and signal a bold, forward-thinking vision for Cleveland football. His youth, energy, offensive intelligence, and exposure to Sean McVay's system make him an exciting candidate who could bring immediate creativity to the franchise. On the other hand, the lack of NFL-level head coaching experience, questions about leadership, and the challenge of developing quarterbacks who are not yet at an elite level introduce serious risks that cannot be dismissed lightly. The Browns organization must weigh the potential for innovation and long-term growth against the realities of immediate performance expectations and the pressure cooker environment that is professional football. It is a decision that could shape the team's trajectory for years to come, defining the next chapter in Cleveland's storied and sometimes tumultuous football history. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. All right, buckle up, because this is the kind of news that sends shockwaves through the NFL world. Sources have confirmed that Sean McDermott, the man who turned the Buffalo Bills from a struggling franchise into a consistent playoff contender, is now officially the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And let me tell you, this is not what anyone saw coming. The league, the analysts, the fans, and even some of the front offices were completely blindsided by this move. It's the kind of development that gets whispered about in locker rooms, debated endlessly on podcasts, and instantly becomes the dominant topic on Twitter because it defies the expected narrative. Everyone was preparing for one of the usual suspects, the coaches who had been floating around, the coordinators with flashy resumes, the names that pop up in mock reports and speculation pieces. But Sean McDermott, he was off the radar for most, quietly plotting his next move. And now suddenly he's the man in charge in Cleveland. It's the kind of hire that makes you stop and think about strategy, long-term planning, and the possible shakeups we might see in the AFC North. The Browns, a franchise with a storied history and a fan base that demands excellence, have been searching for stability at the head coach position for a while. They've gone through several experiments, some that promised big changes but fizzled out, leaving fans frustrated and players in limbo. But McDermott, He's the guy known for building culture, for instilling discipline, and for crafting defenses that are hard to move the ball against. In Buffalo, he created a team identity, a sense of purpose, and a winning mindset that didn't rely solely on flashy quarterbacks or superstar skill players. He emphasized resilience, preparation, and a defensive philosophy that's both adaptable and ruthless. Now imagine that philosophy transplanted to Cleveland, a city that hungers for success and hasn't had consistent playoff presence for decades. It's an intriguing match, and one that has already sparked intense speculation about what his immediate priorities might be. People are already debating what this means for the Browns roster. The team has some star talent and plenty of potential that's yet to be fully realized. Some players might see this as a fresh start, an opportunity to prove themselves under a coach who has a proven track record of maximizing talent. Others might be uncertain about how their roles will change, especially if McDermott insists on implementing a defensive-first mindset, or if he tweaks the offensive schemes to better fit his vision. The quarterback situation, always a hot topic in Cleveland, will be under a microscope. How will McDermott approach it? Will he be hands-on with the play calling, or will he delegate? Will he be patient, trusting in the current core, or will he start making aggressive moves in free agency and trades to reshape the roster quickly? All of these questions are swirling in the minds of fans and analysts alike. The speculation alone is enough to keep sports talk shows busy for months. Then there's the NFL itself. The league did not expect this hire, and insiders are quietly acknowledging that McDermott's decision to leave Buffalo for Cleveland is a bold, audacious move. After years of building a team from the ground up in Buffalo, walking away to tackle the Browns is risky, even for someone with his resume. But it's precisely this kind of risk that could pay off in monumental ways. The NFL loves unpredictability, and this is unpredictability at its finest. Betting markets, fantasy football projections, and team power rankings will have to adjust overnight. Analysts who had McDermott penciled in for a contract extension with the Bills now have to rewrite their scripts, reconsidering the implications for the AFC landscape. And for Browns fans, it's a heady mixture of hope, excitement, and cautious optimism. The city is known for its passionate support, and now they have a coach who could finally bring a coherent, disciplined identity to the team. Let's also think about the ripple effects across the league. Assistant coaches in Cleveland could see new opportunities, while some might face uncertainty as McDermott brings in his trusted staff. Buffalo will feel the loss, no doubt, but the Bills have a strong foundation, and the narrative of what if is going to follow McDermott wherever he goes. Rival teams in the division are already recalculating their strategies, knowing that the Browns just became a more unpredictable opponent, and it's not just about the X's and O's. McDermott has a reputation for cultivating leadership within the locker room, for developing players who buy into the system and elevate their game. That kind of influence could transform Cleveland's locker room culture almost overnight, turning a team that has struggled with consistency into a squad that embodies focus and accountability. Of course, the media frenzy is going to be relentless. Headlines will speculate on every possible move, from draft picks to free agency signings, from defensive schemes to quarterback strategies. Rumors about potential trades, staff hirings, and even subtle philosophical shifts in how the team approaches games will dominate coverage. Fans will dissect every quote, every social media post, every minor detail to try and decode McDermott's intentions. And let's be honest, part of the thrill here is not just knowing what's confirmed, but imagining all the possibilities. Could Cleveland become a defensive powerhouse in the mold of Buffalo? Could they surprise everyone with offensive innovation under a coach whose reputation has been built on defense? Could McDermott finally lead a team to break the long-standing narrative of mediocrity that has plagued the franchise? These are the questions fueling debates, online forums, and late-night sports talk shows everywhere. It's also worth noting the psychological angle. A coach of McDermott's caliber walking into Cleveland sends a signal to players and rivals alike. The Browns are serious about change. They're serious about structure, discipline, and competitiveness. That alone can alter how opponents prepare for them and how players carry themselves on and off the field. Confidence, discipline, and leadership are intangible elements, but they often make the difference between a team that contends and a team that flounders. With McDermott at the helm, Cleveland is no longer just a team with potential. They are a team with a clear blueprint, a defined culture, and a leader capable of executing it. In the end, this is exactly the kind of headline that keeps the NFL thrilling. Sean McDermott to the Browns is not just a coaching hire. It's a statement. It's a declaration that the Browns are ready to shake up expectations, rewrite their narrative, and finally pursue the kind of consistency and identity that has eluded them for so long. The league didn't see it coming, the analysts didn't see it coming, and the fans might not fully grasp the implications yet. But one thing is clear, this move will be felt across the NFL for years, shaping strategies, influencing rivalries, and igniting endless speculation. Sean McDermott in Cleveland is more than news, it's a story that is just beginning. And the chapters to come could very well redefine the Browns' place in football history. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!